Hello, hello everyone. It's Kathy with Paper Phenomenon, and I'm here with a recap video. We've got lots of questions, really good ones. So we're going to start right in with the questions, and then I'll talk about all the other things that have been going on. So let's get to it. The first question is from Jill Marple. She asked, when is the 8.5 by 11 usually put into the box folder for 2025 Moving Parts Minis? Please send a huge thank you to whoever does this. My 12 by 12 printer and my 8.5 by 11 papers do not print the same size. Huge difference. Kathy, these minis are so stinking fun and cute. Thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate it. Well, first of all, Jane is the one that does these. I mean, where would we all be without Jane, right? Because we need these files. You guys need these files for those who do not have a 12 by 12 printer. So the files are usually put into the project folder once the project is released. There are times that Jane may get them in there earlier because I know exactly what I'm using. So here's the process in case because you guys are not familiar. So once I release the collection into the project folder, Jane prints it for me. She prints it in 12 by 12 and 8 by 8. Okay. Once I know which embellishments I'm using in terms of size, because in some collections I may use a 12 by 12 sized embellishment, or I may use an 8 by 8 size embellishment. Once I make the project, once I know which ones I'm using, that's when Jane creates an 8.5 by 11 file so you guys can have as close to possible size embellishment that I have. And the reason why I say as close as possible is because when you print, margins are everything. Every printer is different. It sets the margins to whatever factory defaults are set to your printer. So the 8.5 by 11, and this is only for moving parts. Remember, only for moving parts is very important. We don't do this for all digital collections. Moving parts is a very project specific paper collection. So we kind of we made this customization to the digital collection so that you guys have it and you can make your 8 by 8 folio exactly like mine. Okay. So it all depends where I am with the project on when Jane uploads the 8.5 by 11 collection. But remember, it will always be there when the project is released when you see it on YouTube, which usually is the first week of the month. All right. So thank you so much for the question, Jill. And I'm so happy that you guys are using these files and that you find them very, very useful. Thanks. The next question is from Victoria. I've noticed in recent projects that you don't ink the paper edges anymore. I probably missed this post where you might have explained the reason. I still ink, and I know it's personal preference, but wondering your reason. I still think all your projects are delightful, and I am all caught up with my monthly 2025 minis. Love this size. Also, really love your P3 tape. It's a real game changer. Well, thank you so much, darling. P3 tape is definitely a game changer, and I'm so happy that you're using it, and I'm so happy that you're loving it. Now, the reason why I don't ink is because I have a shoulder injury. I've had shoulder surgery. I've done all the things, and inking is one of those things that triggers the bursitis in my shoulder, so I don't do it anymore. And that's the reason I don't ink. It's not personal preference, darling. It is circumstance. And this shoulder doesn't let me ink. That's why I don't ink anymore. But you continue to ink. I have learned to love my projects now without the inking, but if you watch all of my videos, you'll see that in some projects, I'm like, ink this. This definitely needs to be inked. So go ahead and ink it. All right. So personal preference is yes, you ink if you love it. You don't ink if you don't love it. But for me, it's my shoulder. That's the reason I don't ink. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is from, I'm not even going to butcher the name. Thank you for the question. Says Kathy, I know you've talked about the grain and against the grain of chipboard, the stiff and the bendy direction of the chipboard on a lot of projects. Could you discuss in general some thoughts about bendy and stiff and making boxes and covers? If the box is tall versus short. Should the stiff direction by stiff for the height of it's a tall box versus a short and wide box? I think I understand what you're asking me here. What about the inside or outside wraps? I've been trying to use a stiff direction for the width of my covers and the height of the spine. Okay, I'm going to cover that. It matters with albums and we'll discuss it. Does it matter? Yes, it does. Or does it mostly only matter when we're doing the rounded edges, as in the travel cases? I love your question. We use the bendy direction because we're actually literally bending the chipboard. Exactly. I've been cutting the pieces for my Maxine box as well as the pieces for the 3 travel cases. Then she follows up with, well, so I'm looking at the Journey remix, and when I go to the cover video, you explain exactly about the direction of the grain of the covers. All right, that's fine that I explain it all, but let's discuss it here. I just noticed Olivia back there chilling. All right, guys. So when making boxes, unless I specifically discuss it, it doesn't matter. Why? Because the boxes have 4 sides. So it's going to support each piece as we create the project. When we're making albums, it matters. And let me show you how. We're talking about this album when she went to this project folder. This particular project, I talk a lot about the bendy side of the chipboard and the stiff side of the chipboard. And let me show you that. So when you're working with chipboard or with cardstock, you can also feel this with cardstock. Let me zoom out a bit. So when we are looking for the bendy side or the stiff side of chipboard or cardstock, you can feel it when you bend. See? If you go here, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is the bendy side. Then go against the other way. You're going to see that one side will bend a lot easier than the other side. This side, I could barely get a bend. If I try to bend this, it's going to crease, right? It will not bend. It will crease. It will crack. Here, bendy side, stiff side. When you're making albums, especially large albums, you want to be sure that the width of the album is the non-bendy side, right? You want to cut your width so that it doesn't bend. Okay. You may think, oh, Kathy, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you want the bendy side to be at the top, right? Why would you want your album to bend like this? It's not. You want to know why? Because the spine is going to support it. Okay. If you are not careful with the bendy side versus the stiff side, see here, and I didn't discuss it for this one. I don't think I did. Maybe I did in the project folder because this is a long cover. So I want the stiff side here, okay, because my spine is going to support the top, okay? Otherwise, what will happen, and you won't see it in any of my albums because I'm careful of it, this right here will bend. It'll go like this, guys. Your album will go like this, okay? Because there's no supporting it at the top or on the sides. So what you want to do is when you are making an album cover, you always want the width, all right? Just do it as a rule of thumb, whether it's a small album, a large album, doesn't matter. You want the width to be on the stiff side. See? I cannot bend this. I would have to fold it, okay? You want the stiff side, okay? With boxes, it doesn't really matter unless I specifically say in a project because a box has support on all sides, okay? When it matters when we're making a box is when I need something to bend. Like for instance, in this suitcase, I needed to get all this bending action here, right? I needed the chipboard to bend. So it's so very important that when you cut your chipboard to size, the correct side, the correct width was on the bendy side, whatever I said in that project folder, right? So just follow what I said in that project folder was on the bendy side. All right. So those are the rules that you should follow. For boxes, really doesn't matter. Albums, it matters when you're making large albums. Smaller albums doesn't really matter because there's not a lot of real estate there to get too much bending action on a small album. All right, so hopefully that clears it up. So cardstock is also the same. It matters when you're scoring and you're folding, and I cover that in a video which we will link down below because it's really good information. So there is a bendy side and a stiff side to the chipboard, and when you're making albums, your width, you want the stiff side. All right, let's move on to the next question. That's an excellent, excellent question. I want to remind you that the Crop at Home event for Capture the Fun is June 12th through the 14th. There's still time, guys, for you to get a ticket to join the event. We are making this beautiful project right here. For those of you who picked up the kit, those should be in your hot little hands already. You guys should be ready to rock and roll for this event and join me to make this project with your goodies. For those of you who got the ticket only, I included the digital paper collection. All right, so you have your digital paper collection. You will be able to make this project exactly like mine and pick up your own supplies or use whatever use whatever papers you want. You don't have to use this, but you can join in on the fun for the community, for the giveaways, and just a fun crafting weekend. Because that's what we're doing. We're crafting. We're making this gorgeous project together. The beauty of it is via Zoom, so we get to see each other's faces, we get to chat, we get to do all of the fun stuff that you would do as if you were in a crop. As if you were in a class. I learned that a class and a crop are two different things. So we will be crafting together. Pick up your ticket. It is June 12th through the 14th. I will be sure to link it down below. Remember, when you get the ticket, you do get the digital collection included. You also get the private videos for this project and access to the 3-day Crop at Home event. So let's move on to the next question. So the next question is from Sher Lynn. She says, "Thank you so much, Kathy, for answering the previous question I have posted. LOL. Of course, I have more. What do you use to hold your embellishments in? It kind of looks like acetate that you have customized. I will show you, babe. Also, I tragically lost my 16-year-old daughter and caretaker in a car accident on March 17, 2025. She was 5 driveways from being home. Another driver veered over to the wrong side of the road and hit their car head on. The driver, daughter's best friend, walked away with very minor injuries, and Lily Dawn died instantly. That leads me to my next question. Have you ever made a memory of book? So far, I have made the 2025 March moving parts minis for the memorial service and now doing the April moving parts minis for pictures her friends have sent me. I just have to print the pictures and put them in. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading this question, so forgive me. I have to keep my hands busy or I find myself in a very dark place. What better way than to honor my beautiful daughter than books of memories of her? Thank you, Kathy, for what you do and your talented team." Oh, I had to get my composure for this question. First of all, as I'm reading this, I already know about Sher Lynn's daughter because she sent me an email about something else. But this just brought it all back. All right. And again, as I said to you in my email, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I cannot imagine. You guys know I'm going through my own grief with my mom, but I don't know if a child is on a whole nother level. I don't know, nor do I want to know. Nor do I want to know. But I know, woo, I know that you're making this. You're joining us for the crop. And I'm so super excited that you're joining us for the crop. I know that you're making this for your daughter. Her request to me, which I don't want to tell you guys because then you guys are gonna I should have messaged you to ask for a color. You guys got what you got except Sher Lynn for Lily Dawn. She asked me if I can send her purple. All right, because her favorite color was purple. I know what Lily Dawn looks like because she sent me a picture. She sent me a picture and she's going to be making this. So I love this for a book of memories. But I also love my recent favorites, right? Which is a labor of love, right? The Moving Parts albums. I made 2 of them and they're so fun and interactive. they're large albums, like this one here, this boy version. Let me change the camera view. So this version here, or this more masculine version, there's lots of fun areas for you to add photos here. So this is the original moving parts. I started off with 8.5 by 11s, and these are super fun. This is the second album where I used a lot of acetate in this one. Okay. So fun ways for you to add photos. See, like, look at this one here, how fun it is. All the whole page is made out of acetate. There's a side fold pocket, all sorts of fun things, right? Fun things, which would also be fun for you to look through, right? Now, if you want a simpler album to just flip through, I would recommend any of the Mr. Benjamin albums, specifically Mr. Benjamin 1, because that is just a flip album, not a lot of pockets. Then I did Mr. Benjamin 2 because I wanted to incorporate some pockets with all those flips, right? So you can either straight up do Mr. Benjamin or Mr. Benjamin 2, and or a combination of the two, like many crafters have done here. So that's a good one if you just want to make something to keep your mind busy and then just add photos, right? Mr. Benjamin is most certainly the way to go, and it's going to be a lovely flip through, right, without taking the guesswork out of it, because after you make an album you forget where the flips and the flaps are, right? Mr. Benjamin, easy peasy to flip through and to remember, just to remember. I am not there yet. I have not been able to make a memory book of my mom because I just cannot, not yet. But I love that this is what you're doing and using to keep you from going nuts, right? I love it, Sher Lynn. And I can't wait to see you June 2nd, June 12th, June 12th to the 14th. And it's going to be lovely to see your face. All right. So super big hugs to you, darling. Super big hugs, and keep on crafting and doing what makes you happy. All right. Do what makes you happy. All right. Next question. No more crying. And be sure you watch all the way to the end because we have our Facebook member project and it is by Angelica. So make sure you watch till the end. You don't want to miss that. The next question is from Lori Engel. She says, I purchased the 2025 moving parts minis, which I love making. I do not have a scan and cut, but I do have a Cricut maker with design space. You may have already answered this question, so forgive me, but when I print and cut words, there are no borders. It cuts the individual letters out. Would it be possible to add a border on the digital embellishment files, or is there a secret and I'm not aware of? Thanks. As far as I know, you got to let me know which one specifically you're talking about. But there is a border around the embellishments. It's very faint, but there is. Hold on, let me look. So I'm not sure which month you're looking at, but right now in front of me that are not cut, I have, this is the August collection, which is a travel inspired collection. You guys have not seen this yet, sneaky peekies. There is a border. I have a feeling that in some of the earlier collections, not all of them may have a border. And I'm not sure though. So you got to tell me which one specifically. Like here's the July one. This one it has a very faint border. Here I pulled out the 12 by 12 May so you can see it. It has a pretty giant border. The border is very visible for in a 12 by 12. All right, so let me know which one you're looking at, and I'll have to see if I can if it doesn't have a border, I'll have to see if the designer will do that for me. Lots of designers don't like to go back to getting things done, so I will have to see. All right, so I can't make any promises to that, but I'm happy to look at it. As for the Cricut, if there is a secret, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to leave it up to our viewers to see if anybody knows how they can add a border, perhaps maybe that will help her to cut that out. But with the scan and cut, I know it's easy peasy to add a border, but I'm not sure why it's cutting for you individually because there are borders on this one, or if there's one specifically that it's just not picking up the border. I don't know. But I do not know how to do that. But there's obviously, I have a so many crafters that watch my videos. Hopefully somebody can answer that. So if you know how to add a border around sentiment so that it doesn't cut out individual letters, please chime in and let us know below. Thank you so very much. Next one. This question was a perfect segue to the Facebook community page. I'm going to leave you a link down below. The Facebook community page is also a wonderful place to ask questions like these because we have crafters that use different machines, different tools, and they will be able to help you more so than me because I just use what I use and done, right? I don't even use these things no more because Jane cuts everything out for me. So Facebook community page, the link will be down below. Share your paper phenomenon projects on there, ask your questions on there. The only thing I ask is that you don't post my measurements on there because those are tutorials that I sell. Other than that, feel free to ask any question you want. There are times that I answer, there's times that Dr. E answers, and 99.9% of the time, a fellow crafter will answer your question. So check it out because it's super duper helpful. All right, so next question is from Dina. She's asking, I see some of them, the journal cards, can be printed on whatever color card stock I want. But do the ephemera sets 1, 2, and 3 print out in a more vintage type tones? I do see a few pieces are white, most are beige and more. I tend to like more modern mid-tone colors. Thanks for the videos. I've been curious about these sets. Let me show you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's go take a look together. All right, so if you go to my website, paperphenomenon.com, and you print journal cards or ephemera, maybe. Let's do ephemera, see what we get. Right here, ephemera. Print ephemera out. These right here are exactly what you see. What you see is what you get. If you print it out on a different cardstock, the only ones that are going to work for you are these here. See what's in white. All right, see what's in white? That will print the color cardstock that you see. But these other ones, the color will be muddy because it'll be the color that you see here and then the cardstock. All right, you can change perhaps the background color on these if you have a Photoshop or something like that, but I don't know how to do that. That is up to you if you know how to do that. All right, now the ones that you're talking about that print, that you have the option to change the background based on the color that you're printing are the journal cards. Journal cards, see what comes up. Ah, these right here. Yep, they're called journal cards. So see these right here? These journal cards, the colors that you see here are based upon the paper that I put into the printer because these are black and these are printed. These are all black, white and black. So you can put any paper into the printer and these come out printed on the color paper that you put into the printer. All right, these are the only ones that are like that. They have no background. The other ones that I showed you, the ephemera set 1, 2, and 3, those all have a background. What you see is what you get. All right, so let's look at that one more time. Ephemera, see this one here? This is what you get. What you see here is what you get. Now, on the lighter ones, you may be able to change the backgrounds, right? But no, I don't know that you want to do that. You may want to do a little test and see what the color looks like based upon what you see here, right? So what this color right here will look like if you put a yellow paper in there, all right? It may be maybe a little bit more richer, a more modern look on this kind of parchment type of color. All right, hopefully that helps. And that's a great question. And you want to get these, I don't know why I say this to you guys, on sale. All right. So be sure to put them on your wish list if you are into these types of embellishments. So another quick update, guys. My weekly classes are pretty much canceled for the summer. I will start back up on weekly classes like the remix projects in August. And I don't know exactly in August, but it will be in August. However, I have a little treat for you guys, so stay to the very end because I will share. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, so the next question is from Diane. She says, Kathy, is it possible for you to include the finished size of the envelopes in the 2025 Moving Parts project? The directions on box accounts say to cut the envelopes at 72%. I tried, but mine still come out too. Thank you. I guess too small or too large. I'm not sure. Thank you so much. Large or too small? Oh, they come out either too large or too small. All right, so printing, guys, printing is so subjective. All right. So for that 72%, that's for the 12 by 12. All right. If you're using the 12 by 12, that's what you use. And that is going to get you approximately as close as possible to mine. All right. Because margins play a huge role when you're printing digital collections. Let me show you. Look at my workspace here. Okay, so here's my work. Whoopsie. Paper collections all over the place. So many good things coming up, guys. You are going to be so excited. Look at the June. It's the July collection. So gorgeous. And the travel one for August, gorgeous. So I did this little print test here. So Jane cuts my embellishments out, right? This is Jane's 8.5 by 11 file. Okay. Thought I had two of these with me, but I seem to only have one right now. These are Jane's 8.5 by 11 files. I found the other ones. All right, guys. So I have two different 8.5 by 11 printers, two different ones. These are the ones that Jane cuts for me. She sized these exactly in the 8.5 by 11 file, not in the 12 by 12. All right, not the 12 by 12. The 8.5 by 11 file will be as close as possible to what I'm using. I will give you those measurements, Diane. Just bear with me, okay? So one of my printers, I just opened the 8.5 by 11 file and I printed. Look at this. Look at how close that is. See that? See that? See this one? This one's perfect. Perfect. Okay? Another printer, I want to use the same file so you can see. Here's another printer in my house. Look what I just opened the file. Look what I got. Look. It all depends on your printer and whatever those margins are set to. This is the 8.5 by 11 file. I did nothing. I changed nothing. Here I did landscape just for giggles. Sorry, I almost said a word. Look, this one is pretty close. Like if I cut this one out with you, you see that it's 30 years. Right, let me cut this one out. This one was easy to cut. So there is a border around these as well. You see, so if you're using the cut files that Jane provides, you can either set the file to the border and have white around it, or straight up right on, on the edge. Okay, so I like on the edge. She uses her discretion. Like for the flowers, I wanted a border. For some of these ephemera pieces, I like without the border. So she already knows what I like, so she gives me what I like. And when she doesn't know what I like, she sends me pictures and asks me to choose, right? Because every project is different. So here is this one on an 8.5 by 11 printer that I have in my house. Jane can tell, see the cardstock way? This is regular printer paper. Look. Can't tell because it's a weird border, but look at that. Okay, so you'll see that this one is slightly larger. Oh, here we go. White side and then this side. You can see the border here. Just want you to see that it is so subjective, guys. So what you would do to get it, if you want your pieces to be exactly like mine, then you have to get the cut files and you have to have the machine that Jane uses, because the Silhouette is as close to the Juliet which is the machine that Jane uses. Now Cricut has its own rules. It wants you it pretty much doesn't want you to do anything with your machine except use their files. So Cricut is it's not very user friendly for things like this. It's excellent if you're using Cricut files, but if you're using other files, they don't really like it. All right. So I have another one of these just to show you. Here are these. Look, see, it's a little bit off on two different printers in my house. Just slightly off, as you can see. All right, so this printer that got this file exactly right doesn't print this file exactly right. And you want to know why? Because it's a margin issue. When it opens the file up in your printer, it sizes the file to fit within whatever your margins are in. Okay? So what you would have to do is edit these files. Like you have to cut the margin to try to figure out, oh, Kathy's maybe a little bigger, a little bit smaller. But the bottom line is that it's not such a big difference that you would be like, oh, that it's not usable. As you can see, look, it's not such a big difference. All right, so it's most certainly, these 8.5 by 11 files are definitely a game changer. Okay, now this one, I don't know what happened here on that other printer. Then let me show you very quickly. Maybe this will help you. So this file right here, whoopsie, not that. Oh, please. This file right here, when I hit print, see print, this dialog box comes up. Don't ask me why it doesn't give me a print preview on portrait. I have to hit landscape. Landscape will not work. You see how it cuts off the image? Then I have to go back to portrait and then it gives me what I want. All right. So what you can do, let's say you print one sheet and you're like, oh, those look way bigger than Kathy's. What you can do is mess with this here where it says photo size. You can hit, oh no, not that one, sorry. This here, fit. Mine is set to fill to page. Look what happens when I hit shrink to page. See how it gets a teeny bit smaller? So that would probably work for me for these files right here, these, where they're just a little bit bigger. But that would not bother me just a teeny bit bigger. It's up to you guys on what you think will work. Now, Diane, I don't know which moving parts you're working with because every moving parts envelope is pretty different in per collection. So you would have to tell me what envelope you want. And if you're talking about specifically for the June moving parts that's coming up, I will do that in the project folder for you. All right. If you need a different one, just let me know. All right. So I will get that done. All right. So let's move on to the next question. It is from Ava Carruthers. She asks, I do not have an SVG cutting machine. Is there an option? And she's asking specifically for the capture the fun. Ava, there is. There is another option. Let me show you. In the shop, I am selling the Precuts. If you go to my shop and type in Precut, you're going to find Precuts for pretty much every one of my projects. And I have to give a shout out to Jane because Jane is the one that cuts these. You have to remember though that these are cut to order. So when you order it, that's when she cuts it. So it doesn't ship the next day. It's going to take, I don't know, I think she has like a 5-day, 7-day turnaround on those, right? Where give her 7 days because there's other orders in front of you. All right. So just read in the description. That's really important. So you don't have to cut anything out. Everything cuts for you. For this specific project, Capture the Fun, the case is made out of craft text, right? So you get the front piece out of craft text, right? You get all of the pieces for the lens cut for you out of cardstock because that's what I used. So everything is cut. If I use a piece of acetate for this lens, she cuts the acetate piece out for you. All right. So look at that, how fabulous. It is pretty fabulous. And everything is in there. So you will have to buy craft text for one back piece, the black craft text, but everything comes for you. Okay. Everything comes for you in there to make the case. The pieces that have SVGs to make the case. All right. There's one more piece that you have to cut out of craft text. So you would have to buy a roll of craft text, right, to make the handle and all that other stuff. But for the SVGs, it comes cut for you already. And I have quite a few of these because guess what box turned up? Exactly, for those of you who know what I'm talking about. So yes, there's another option. Go to my shop. You know what? Hold on, let me show you. If you type right here in the search button, click search, and you type in pre-cut chipboard. It's 2 words. If you look up the project, here are the pre-cut chipboards for the vintage hat box. This one is for the hats off project, for the illusions box. There's pre-cuts here for everything. This is the one you're looking for, Capture the Fun. You can see everything that you get in the Capture the Fun kit for the pre-cuts. All right, these are never on sale, guys. So if you're waiting for a sale for these, you can forget about it. They don't go on sale. These are priced. It is what it is for this. This is a lot of manual labor. And yes, the machine cuts them, but you gotta fill the machine, right? You gotta pack it. You gotta do everything for this. You gotta load the machine. So these are priced as what they are, and they do not go on sale. All right, but listen, it's called convenience, people, right? Convenience. I love convenience. I am all for a service, guys. I love a good service. All right, let's move on to the next question. So the next question is from Barb Borgia. I really love this style album. She's talking about the 200 photos, Our Story Splitback album. So it's the Our Story Splitback album. I really love this style of album for my son's wedding this past February. The first side would be perfect for the ceremony and formal pictures, with the second side for the reception. I think their steampunk theme would be great for this as well. I'm just wondering if you have a tutorial showing how to turn pockets and free-floating photo mats into attachments. I don't want things to get lost, as he is a firefighter in the Air Force, currently in Germany, and they are likely to move many times over their marriage. Any suggestions? I do have some wonderful suggestions. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your son's service. I love that. Fellow military mom, I can relate. So she's talking about this album, and it is quite the beast. It's called the Splitback album for a reason, because look at the spine. All right, but you don't have to look at it that way. And I'm going to change the camera view. It's called Splitback because this is how you look at it. Isn't that fun? So let me show you here on. So it's a 12 by 12 album, but you fold it in half for storage. A 12 wide. We can make it 12 by 12 though. Don't tempt me with a good time, people. All right, workspace. All right, so this one was made for us by our fellow crafter, Maggie Martinez. I know many of you know. It is gorgeous, guys. She made paper beads. She made all sorts of fun little shrinky dink embellishments. They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Look at this little packet of goodies in here. It's like a sunflower. She used the storybook paper collection. So as you can see, this is the way the album functions. Can you put a belly band around this, a closure? Absolutely, if you want to do that for story. Okay. This one features my pop-up platform because there's a lot of bells and whistles in here. Okay. So there's quite a bit of bells and whistles. So if you want that pop-up platform, absolutely you can. Look at how beautiful she finished it with some fabric. And look at how gorgeous you get to decorate the spine, right, which is usually covered. I've been adding three-dimensional items to the spine, so this is a good album to do that. But to her question on how to attach loose things to your album, you absolutely can with a paper hinge. Okay. Paper hinge. In some cases, you may be able to use P3 tape. It all depends if it applies. You can do these with acetate, with all sorts of different materials. You can do it with fabric. So what you would do is, depending on the piece, this one is pretty easy, right? So this one opens here. If you wanted to attach this to flip up right here, right? You would create a paper hinge. Let me grab a piece of paper. It requires a little more matting, but you know, you can do it. So a paper hinge, you normally want it 1 inch, right? 1 inch wide by whatever the width is, right? So and you would score this in half. Right, so you would score it. This one is too easy though. I'm getting away with murder here. Right, you would score this in half. This is obviously a little wider than 1 inch. And you would attach it to one side, right? And then attach it to this piece here. Now this is wider than this, so I would make my paper hinge the width of this pocket here, even a little shorter. If you don't want a mat to cover the hinge up, then you want to do it out of pattern paper. But I say you want to attach these things before you mat, so that way you can mat after this is attached, right? And you wouldn't see the paper hinge, right? But if you're attaching these things after you mat, then you want to add a decorative paper so that, the paper hinge looks good, right? And then on this, you can mat here or add your photo. Now, if it's for a piece that is not square, let me see if I can find something in here that's not square, which I probably doubt. Look at this. Okay, I'm getting distracted. How gorgeous. Look at her acetate pocket here. Oh my gosh. Can I find something? Okay, here is a piece that is not square. Let's say you wanted to, this one is a very terrible piece to show. But let's say I wanted to attach this. I want to address this with you. Then you have to pick which side you want this to attach. So we're not going to pick this one because this one's too easy. So let's say I wanted it to attach here. So I would make individual hinges so that I can attach them here, right? And I would glue this on here. I'm going to do it with you. Let me grab some glue. Okay, so I would hinge them right here. All right, the hinge has to be to the outside, right? You want the fold to be right on the edge. Right on the edge. Because otherwise it won't open properly. And you can use absolutely anything to create this hinge. Fabric. Acetate's a little tricky because acetate doesn't really fold, right? It kind of pops back up. So you got to be careful where you would use acetate. But again, absolutely anything. I lost my cover already. It's just right here. Oh well, I'll figure it out. So I gotta let this dry. I use quite a bit of glue. Okay. And now you would stick this to something, right? Let me put my trimmer back. Trying to find a large piece of scrap paper. I've got quite a mess over here because when I bring out projects for you guys to see. So there's the hinge. Now it is up to you if you want that hinge to show, which I don't think it looks bad, but you may not want that to show. So what you would do is you would trim around it, right? And then you don't see the hinge. Okay. So you got to examine the piece, figure out where you want to attach it from, and then you got to make little hinges or big hinges or whatever the case may be. You can even do it with brads, right? If you wanted to swing out or something, you can do it with brad. But 9 times out of 10, the paper hinge will be your friend. So see how I customize the hinge? Now you glue it from here. Depending how heavy the piece is, you can probably make a 1.5 inch hinge and then score it in half, and that'll give you 3/4 of an inch. Right now I'm working with a 1/2 inch, right? Because I did 1 inch. Like so. The key is that the hinge has to be right on the edge of the piece. Otherwise it will not open properly. Not the edge of the base, the edge of the piece that you're hinging. And there you go. See that? Now that becomes a part of your project, let's say, right? Let's say this was attached here. Now you have this that opens up. And now it's just up to you. Well, now it's up to you on whether or not you want to, you would cover this with pattern paper, another photo, if you have mirror image, I don't know, you just have to figure out how you're going to cover up the mechanism if you're using something that needs to be covered up, right? It's up to you. But look at how wonderful that is. You would have never thought that you can hinge this and make this a flip out, but you can because you can use a hinge and you customize it for however you need it. So hopefully this helps and you can get those little special pieces into the album and they don't get lost. I love that. So the things that I talk about in this video are on sale on my website. So if you're interested in the split back album, get it now on sale. The capture the fun. Um, Ticket only, that includes all sorts of other things, is also on sale. And whatever I talk about in this video, all on sale. And you'll find them on the home page. In the description box, you'll have links to whatever I discuss here as well. So let's move on to what is now the last question, because I think I don't have any more updates, but we'll see what I talk about when I change the camera view. Hello. Remember that you can always email me at info@paperphenomenon.com with any questions that you have about purchases, projects. If you want to ask on the Facebook page and you want to get an answer from one of our fellow crafters, feel free to do that. However, questions regarding purchases, you don't want to ask on Facebook because no one can answer those but me or Jane. So you always want to send an email when you are inquiring about a purchase. Also include your invoice number. That would be super duper duper helpful. And a quick update on shipping. I am currently packing and shipping kits for the Journey suitcase project that you see right down there. So look out. You shall see movement the first week of June. Those are headed out the door and to you all. All right. So let me get to the last question and then I'll give you the surprise I have for you guys. All right, let's do it. All right. So the last question is from Skip. I think. Forgive me if I ruined that. 23 is my favorite number. When are you going to post a final review for the Dear You project? Final review? Hold on, please. There is a project folder with a final review of 12 pages. Hold on, let me show you. You have 12 page options to choose from. She's asking about the 4-page album. I wasn't planning on matting that one. For a final review. Hold on, let me change the camera view. So your purchase came with this project that you have completely matted, 12 pages to choose from. The one we did on National Scrapbook Day is 4 pages, so you can pick one of these pages. What you got for National Scrapbook Day is an alternative cover. Look at the difference in the covers. This one and this one. This one only has 4 pages. I mean, I don't mind matting them, but I guarantee you they're going to look like this. Either one of these, one of these, one of these, right here. Okay, you have 12 pages. You can choose to put your sentiments if you want to on each of those, whichever one you're using, and add whatever you want from the ephemera. Add whatever you want. But we shall see. We shall see. And the box is also in your project folder. Okay. But I mean, I don't have a problem matting this. This is only 4 pages and, adding the pocket here, no problem. So I guess it's something I will add to my to-do list for this week. For those of you who are waiting for there's 2 pages that were not that they are matted for the Journey suitcase album. Those videos were in my computer that died. So I'm just going to do a final review on this and just walk you through it. All right, because it's already matted. So unfortunately those videos died with my computer, with my old computer. I say old, but she wasn't that old. I had to get a new computer and they couldn't fix my computer. So anyway, there will just be a final review on that video there with no matting videos. And for the surprise, so you guys know I have several travel paper collections, and the August collection is a brand new travel collection. So I'm going to do a travel inspired journey suitcase, the suitcase, the hat box, and the train case project on YouTube using the pre-cuts. Let me show you. Using the pre-cuts that Jane cuts out for us. I'm not cutting anything by hand. By hand videos are in the project folder. So I'm going to be using the pre-cuts for the journey suitcase, the hat box, and the train case using the passenger paper collection, the brand new August collection that is called, let me think about that, it'll come to me, and a brand new Flight 2715. It's a part 2 to Flight 2715. So those 3 paper collections I will be using for these 3 projects. I will have printed collections available for you. You have the pre-cuts available for you. Remember, those never ever go on sale. My paper collections are never on sale. Everything is at the lowest price possible with things that are mailed to your home. I will have supply lists for you, but you got the pre-cuts and cardstock, you're set to go with the paper collections. And I will let you know on what date that will be because I have to get the embellishments right for the printed paper collection so that the embellishments in the printed paper collections match what I'm using for these 3 cases right here. So they're going to be glorious, all travel inspired. Even if you don't go to a destination of a bucket list destination, these can also be symbolic as a journey through childhood into teenagehood, adolescent, adulthood, all that stuff could be school years, whatever the case may be. But we're going to be making those 3 again with the pre-cuts. So if you want the pre-cuts, order them now because it'll give Jane time to cut and ship before this class. It's going to be on YouTube, not live, pre-recorded so that I can actually get the work done, right? I can actually get the crafting done. So I'll let you know when the videos will be uploaded so that we can craft together, all right? These videos will be set to premiere because you all can chat and I can be in there in the chat with you guys. So we can still congregate, we can gather and have the whole community aspect of the classes on YouTube because they will be set to premiere. But the first thing you need to order, if you want to participate, you want to get your pre-cuts for the train case, the hat box, and the suitcase, or you can pick up the tutorials and the SVG files are in there for you and you can get to cutting with you on your chipboard and whatever the project folder says. All right. Let me give you a sneak peek of the August collection. All right, guys. So this is the August collection in the 12 by 12. It's a gorgeous paper palette. So this August collection is meant to complement your travel experience. And I'm going to explain to you. All of these colors match back to the passenger and the new Flight 2715 collection. I don't know what I'm calling Flight 2715 collection just yet. And the August collection is called All Roads Lead Here. That's what it's called. It's also August Moving Parts. Remember, if you bought the yearly moving parts for 2025, this will be in your project folder. You do not have to buy it if you bought the annual. The digital collection is in your project folder. Now, if you want the printed collection, then you can pick that up in the shop when available in the shop. It's not there yet. But moving parts, people, you have this. So this paper collection has again, it's called All Roads Lead Here. So whichever mode of transportation, it's kind of included in here, okay? So this one is very generic. Well, it has an airplane, right? But it's pretty generic. That's the back. This one, as you can see, it's very outdoorsy and there's a train. But the back side to that, or the alternative in the project folder, no train, just outdoorsy. So you're not, if you didn't take a train, or this doesn't apply to you, then you use this side, right? The outdoorsy may apply to you. This one has a sailboat, a lighthouse. If that doesn't apply to you, but the water does, you use this one. This could be used for beachy. This could be used for cruise, for any water type of destination, right? This one, very generic. It works back with this one or with this one. So there's just 2 sheets for the theme, and then everything else is generic and works back. This one, kind of backpacking across wherever, that doesn't apply to you. You use this one. This one works back with this one, with this one, or this one, and this one. See that? How gorgeous. Oh, and this one. All right. The airplane is strategically placed over there, so you can use this if it doesn't apply to you. All right. So it's just very, very well thought out. Then we have this look, which is my favorite, and I don't care if it applies to me. I'm using it in my paper, in my project. You guys know that paper does not really dictate any theme in my books. If I love it, I use it. It's about what I love when it comes to paper. Now if I'm gifting a wedding album, I may not put this in there. But if it's a everyday type of project where it's not a gift, where it is theme based, then we'll not throw this in there. But for Kathy projects, anything goes, guys. Anything goes. All right, back to the workspace. So this one, right, very tropical, but maybe the flamingo may not apply to you in your coastal destination or in your seaside destination, but this will apply to you. All right, so it's just perfection, guys. This may apply to your coastal destination or your seaside destination, and maybe this side would work, right? So everything, see, look at how beautiful that works back. Everything just works back to one another. See that? So those 3 or 4 papers are kind of, they're themed, specific. They have a specific theme, but the back gives you all of the versatility that you need. And when I say the back, that's in the printed collection, because in the digital collection, these are all, they're single-sided. You don't have to print them double-sided. These are, you can print them single-sided. So you just print whichever side you want to use. All right. And then remember that the one with the Monstera leaf, there it is, plain. So just all sorts of beautiful, beautiful prints. Okay. I haven't started the projects yet, but as with all my projects, I always recommend getting 2 paper pads when those are available in the shop. They're not there yet because I haven't finalized them yet. Look at this, guys. Look at that. How gorgeous that looks together. And there's the back if this does not apply to you. So, there's all sorts of things. Then we have gorgeous ephemera, right? You're going to make interactive. The ephemera, you will never, with my collections, ever have double ephemera unless you want it, because the back has a solid on it. So on that second pack, you will use this, right? Unless you want to use 2 or 3 of these, right? This collection has the mirror image. So if I use mirror image, you don't have to worry about using mirror image. Unless there's anything with words. There's a couple things with words that are mirror image, but I'll explain why. This, a mirror image, useless. So I would not use a mirror image of that. Mirror image, mirror image, mirror image. This one, mirror image, but the words are not backwards. All right. Notice that Kim did a great job and fixed that for us. So those are not backwards. And mirror images, right? So that's available for you. And that's something, and again, the backs have patterns. That's something that we're working on. So these images here are in a 12 by 12. When you buy the digital collection, this is the size you get. But this is the size I don't know if I'm going to use this size in my project. So when I actually have these printed for this specific project, I may use these butterflies at an 8 by 8 size. So that's the size you will get in your printed collection, if that makes sense. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So remember, all the embellishments have beautiful backs to them. Oh, and I did want to say there's also a corresponding embellishment sheet to the theme, right? So these may not apply to you, but this theme may apply to you, right? This is pretty generic. This theme may apply to you. The backpack pretty much applies to anything, right? But this theme may not apply to you. This here with the cactus and all that, this may not apply to you, but the backpack may apply to you, and this paper may apply to you, right? So again, it just all works out and it's beautifully thought out, and it is perfection. Okay, truly perfection. And I think that's it with the August. And of course, we have our tags that will apply to everything. Look at the reinforcer on this tag, how fabulous. Then we have it's the August collection. So you have the August card. Remember, I'm using these for the August moving parts as well. I'm just doing a side project, all travel related with this collection as well. And there's the back to that. Then these sentiments, these have an outline. The sentiments, all travel related, right? That you can use regardless. And there's a back. So if you get 2 paper packs, you're not stuck with this, right? You're stuck with this that you can probably use with across any paper collection. There's also pocket cards. Here are your pocket cards. How beautiful. And then this is not going to be in the printed collection. This is for those who print 8x8. Let me show you. Oh, I just realized I got to take that year out. That has to come out. For those of you who print 8x8, if you print this one at 8x8, it's going to be teeny, teeny, tiny. And I usually like to use these as a 4x6 roughly. So this one is, you're not going to print this if you're using 12x12, unless you want this giant card, right? You would use this, you would print this at 8x8 so that it will not be teeny, teeny, meeny, right? Teeny, teeny, tiny. That's what this one is for, okay? And your envelopes right here, guys. Look how fabulous these two are. So there's a few more sets of envelopes in the project folder, but in the printed collection, you're only going to get the 2 envelopes. All right, so if you look in the project folders, there's a few other little bits that are not in here that will not be in the printed collection. All of the papers will be in the printed collection. But as far as all of the envelopes, those are not in there. But anyway, it's a gorgeous paper collection, and I love that there's so much versatility. And all of these colors work back to Passenger and Flight 2715. So it's going to be kind of a past, present, and or future, sorry, present would be Passenger and future types of collection into one with the 3 projects, which are, hold please. So they're all from the Journey line. So it's the Journey train case, the Journey hat box, and the Journey suitcase, right? The Journey suitcase, which is darling, all right? I'm going to have some embellishment kits available for these projects and all that good stuff. The point of telling you this now is the pre-cuts. The pre-cuts. If you want the pre-cuts, you've got to order them now, right? So that it gives Jane time to cut so that we can ship by the time we get rocking and rolling on this project, which will be July, August, I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure because I also want to throw in a Christmas in July project that I'm excited about. So one of those, again, pre-cuts, get those ordered. That's the most important thing. All right, I'm done. I'm done with all of the questions. This was a fantastic, fantastic recap video. I will be getting back into these recap videos on a weekly basis. So I know many of you love them. So thank you so much for watching them and staying tuned to the end because there was a lot of fun stuff in this one. So we have our Facebook member project is by Angelica Armenta, and she worked on the half-page mini with pictures. All right, the paper collection she used is the Michaels
Craftsmith Sea Glass collection.
And you want to know how many pictures she got in there? 120 photos in this album. So the half-page mini with 120 photos, what a treat. Thank you so much, Angelica, for sharing this project with us. It is such a treasure. Let's take a look. I'm Kathy with Paper Phenomenon, and until next time.